wasn't just a song. The Beatles made it a statement of unity. In January 1969, the Beatles faced creative strains while searching for their true musical identity. Paul McCartney suggested they revisit the basics, hoping to reconnect through music just like old times. Paul's bass kicks off, John Lennon picks up rhythm, George Harrison weaves lead, and Ringo Starr drives the beat. Their music fills the room, and old creative conflicts start to fade behind their powerful groove. Locking eyes, the band members nod at each other, regaining lost trust one chord at a time. Smiles break through as the Beatles remember the joy that first brought them together. Get Back captured a moment when the Beatles tried to rediscover their bond and reshape their legacy. Did Paul McCartney really die in 1966? In 1969, Beatles fans speculated Paul died in a 1966 car crash and was replaced. Fans pointed to the Abbey Road album cover, where Paul walks barefoot, as a mysterious clue. Listeners reversed Beatles songs and heard Turn Me On, Dead Man in Revolution 9. In Strawberry Fields Forever, fans insisted John Lennon said, I buried Paul. Strange lyrics, odd photos, and strange phrasings fueled the story through wild fan theories. Paul and other Beatles denied everything, making jokes about the wild rumors instead. While Paul never really died, the conspiracy remains one of pop music's weirdest legends. John Lennon's words ignite a global firestorm. In 1966, John Lennon said, "We're more popular than Jesus," shaking the world of music. In the U.S., thousands of American fans held mass protests, burning Beatles records in dramatic bonfires. American radio stations banned Beatles music, cutting the band off from millions of listeners. John Lennon apologized, explaining he never meant to insult Christianity or faith. His remarks pointed to how post-war youth culture and pop icons often eclipse traditional beliefs. The controversy fueled protests at the Beatles' final U.S. tour, making concerts tense and unpredictable. The fallout changed the band's public image, marking the end of the Beatles' touring era forever. The Beatles' wildest night began in a New York hotel room with Bob Dylan. In 1964, the Beatles officially met Bob Dylan in a Manhattan hotel, forever shifting music history. Bob Dylan thought the Beatles smoked marijuana, but they had never actually tried it before that night. Dylan offered the band their very first joint, and they curiously accepted. The night was filled with laughter, awkward attempts, and intense bonding as friends. Soon after, the Beatles' lyrics became more introspective, and their music began sounding dreamlike and trippy. That night is credited as a turning point, sparking a new era for both folk and rock music. Music fans still talk about this magical meeting, a mix-up that changed pop culture forever. Abbey Road was almost called Everest, and the Beatles hated it. Producer Jeff Emmerich suggested naming the album Everest after his favorite cigarettes. The band briefly joked about flying to the Himalayas just for an album cover photo. Ringo gave a hard pass, and John rolled his eyes at the wild plan. Paul asked, "Why not just walk outside the studio for the cover?" So the Beatles lined up single file and marched onto the Abbey Road zebra crossing. Photographer Ian McMillan knelt on a stepladder to capture that fateful moment in a few clicks. In just minutes, the Abbey Road album cover was born. Everest was left in the dust.